You know, when it comes to jargon, sometimes realtors can be the worst. FHA, LTV, ARM, VA, CMA, BPO. I'm going to try to explain one of them today. Hey, this is Greg McKay at Caldwell Banker, your real estate advisor, and I'm here to talk to you today about what a CMA is, a competitive market analysis, or some people call it a comparative market analysis. All it is it's a way that realtors or anybody really can sit down and use the technology available, the information that we have at hand, to try to guess what the range of the price is going to be when it comes time to sell. Let me show you what I'm going to do first. I'm going to go to the Flex MLS, the Realtor Multiple Listing Service, and I'm going to type in the street and see if the address comes up. We're going to practice on my house. There's a few on Bosworth Road, but not one of mine. I'll go ahead and pull one up because I'm going to end up looking at all of these later, because you're going to want to look in the neighborhood where the house is. A house is not going to be worth a whole lot more or a whole lot less than the surrounding houses in the neighborhood. Now, we have a tax suite attached to the multiple listing service, and that's the very first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to pull up the tax records for the house in question. There is a wealth of information on these tax records. They got a little map that you can expand. You can make it bigger, make it smaller. You get an idea of where you are. You see I'm right here behind West Town. It's got the address, of course. It's got the parcel ID to identify it. It's got the owner's name, the legal name. It's got the sale history, the tax assessment, when the taxes were paid. It's even got mortgage history. You can look up and see who's got a mortgage on different pieces of property. And then it's got a breakdown of the physical characteristics of the buildings. So, and if you wanted to, you could even go in here. Look at this. Hit the view building footprint and watch this, and there's a little drawing of the house. So there's a back porch, and there's the deck. So wealth of information. Now, I told you I was old-fashioned. I took the thing I printed out, I got my magic marker out, and I marked the name and the square footage and the loan amount and when it was sold last, and then I had to do some figuring because I know the basement's finished out except for the garage. So I came up with about 2,300 square feet, and that's going to be important because you're going to compare to comparable houses, price per square foot. Very important number when you're doing a CMA, price per square foot. Okay, luckily I found two right in my neighborhood. So there's a really cool feature here. It's called the polygon. You can click and you can draw a polygon. You can draw boundaries around, and then anybody who's in those boundaries will pop up, and there's going to be just two of them. Okay, so I went ahead and searched everything in that zip code, and then I zoomed in on my neighborhood right here. And again, we're going to use the polygon, and we're going to draw a box around my whole neighborhood. And we're going to find out we have 48 to look at, so that's good. Obviously, we're not going to print all 48. They won't all be comparable. But now we can start, I can go through the search features and eliminate the ones that only have 1 or 2 baths. I can eliminate the ones that are much smaller, like this one, 1,600 square feet. And just start breaking it down and looking. So now I've got it narrowed down to just 11 houses, plus the 2 that we found over here. And actually these 2 are in that 11, so we've got to narrow down to 11 houses. These are houses that are in my neighborhood, comparable sizes. Now, let me tell you a little trick I learned from my first broker. When you got this many, get rid of the first one. Rank them by price. High to low, low to high, doesn't matter. Rank them by price. Get rid of the cheapest one. Get rid of the most expensive one. Just because they could well be outliers. So now you want to go through and start eliminating some of these. For example, there's a house down on Ramsgate which sold for $350,000. That's the record for my neighborhood, for Kingston Hills, Kingston Woods area. It's 3,100. 30 square feet. It's got an extra 1,000 square feet compared to my house. So, you know, we're not going to look at that one. And that's what you start doing. You start eliminating the ones that don't really compare. All right, so I've got them here. And again, I'm going to go through and kind of mark things that catch my eye. Square footage, fireplace, is there a big deck? Here's one that has new HVAC, 2019. Mine is relatively new. I think it's 2 years old. Excuse me. But I'm just going through to look for likes and comparisons. Let me give you an idea of what I'm looking at. There's a house down the hill from me that sold for $324. It's now the most expensive when I got rid of that other new one. Well, look at this. I looked through the pictures of it, and look at this back patio. I mean, I've got a little patio in my house, but it's nothing like that. So that explains why this house is so much more expensive. It's one of the reasons. Okay, now comes the work. We're going to spend, we got it down to 8. I limited another one because it was 3,300 square feet. Now we're going to start looking at each one of these individually and try to break it down. Why is it worth more than the others? Why is it worth less? Because we have a variation from 262,000 to 326,000. So that's 40, 20, that's an $80,000 variation in these houses. We need to figure out, you know, you can't go tell someone your house is worth between 260 and 325. You got to be a little closer than that. So just to give you an example of how it works, this first house I'm looking at on Moneta, well, I'm familiar with this neighborhood. I've lived over here for 15 years. And I know this house is a new house. It was built within the last, it was built in 2006, which for our neighborhood is new. My house was built, I think, in the 60s. So we're going to eliminate that. So now we're down to 7. So I looked through and marked up these, you know, 7 or 8 houses and trying to get an idea of price per square footage. So as I'm looking through these, I'm finding price per square footage of 120, 115, 137, 113, 106. So, you know, 130 range seems to be kind of where they're at. There's 137, even in the 120, 125 maybe. You're just not going to go, you know, it's not a perfect way to figure it out, but it's a pretty good indicator of your price per square footage. It's a very important number when you're trying to do a CMA. My house, I know, has that extra bath. I have 3 full baths, so I'm going to add a little bit for that. And I've got almost an acre, so I'm going to add a little bit for that. And then I come up with a number, and that's basically how you do it. And the thing is home sellers often forget, and so do real estate agents. It's not the real estate agent to determine the price, the final selling price, nor is it the seller. It's the buyer. It's up to the buyer to decide that the house is worth that much money, and the seller can hope they get so much, the realtor can hope they get so much, but at the end of the day, it's the buyer who decides what the final price is. So this is Greg McKay, your real estate advisor, and if you're in a situation where you're considering selling and you want somebody who will be honest with you to come out and give you an idea of what kind of range your house is worth, feel free to give me a call. I'm glad to help. And if you do decide you want to sell, if you want to consider, you may get to find out why they say call McKay and start packing today. Thank you.